Welcome, this is a short video reviewing how to use the QPath system with some CCHS customizations that have been worked into the system. So this is the system that we'll use for image archiving and interpretation documentation. It is also used for feedback and quality assurance and ultrasound procedure logging for the residents in the program. Your first step is going to be barcode scanning the patient information into the ultrasound machine. And remember, if you have a patient sticker with information, the barcode is the ECD or FIN number, and we'll use that to identify the patient and drive the system. You can also use your badge to scan in your provider ID number in order to link that to the system in the study. And you can see here, this is a sample information page where you have the operator information and the patient information that has been pulled in after barcode scanning. If not using the barcode scanner, you can manually enter the ID number for the patient and the operator and supervisor into the slots. ID number, meaning the ECD or FIN number, will be placed in the ID slot, and the ID numbers of the operators will be placed in the operator slot. The information will then be used to drive all the information into QPath. If you have multiple operators, separate them by a comma. You're going to go to your portal and you're going to launch QPath, which is in your application list. This is also the same view you'll have on remote access. If you do not have access to the system, you have to submit an access request to have the program added to your application. When you launch QPath, you'll arrive at the login screen. The login and password are your normal Windows login and password for the system. When you update your password, it will update on the system. You're going to enter your ID number and your password to log in. And when you first launch QPath, you are brought to this view, which is the list view. And you can see up here, list is highlighted in red. The list view will show the study date, the ID, the patient name, exam type, and further information. Thing in blue can be clicked on to filter for specific findings. So you can see that I filtered the operator to myself in order to not display actual patient information, just test patients. If you wish to change your view to images and worksheets, this is the main working view for each study. And when you click on this view, you'll be brought to this display where you'll see the images and you'll see the worksheets. So the first worksheet you see will be the information for each study that you'll have to fill in the indications, findings, diagnoses, disposition, and sign. The other view that you will see is the QA sheet, which will be filled out by the core ultrasound faculty and sent back to you about a review of the quality and information in your study. If you click on the images tab, you'll be brought to an images view where you'll have the main image on display that is highlighted in red, and then you'll have thumbnail views of all the other images and clips. So remember, when entering patient ID on the ultrasound system, you're going to enter the ECD or FIN number. However, if you do a study and you have not entered any information and it ports across to QPath, the study will be assigned a system-generated ID number. You want to double-click on the ID number and change it to the medical record number. You enter the medical record number into QPath, which is different than entering the FIN or ECD number on the ultrasound machine. And once you enter the MRN, it will pull in the additional patient identifiers. However, you can avoid having to deal with this by entering the ECD or FIN number on the ultrasound system by using the barcode scanner. If you have done a study and you did not scan in your ID, you can then click on the study operator, and with the drop-down menu, select your name so that you can be assigned to the study as either the operator or the attendee. When you see the down arrow and you click on the name slot, you'll get the drop-down menu, and you can select which operator you want to highlight, and that will be the operator for the study. It will be the same process for the attending field. Resident procedures require an attending who is supervising to be listed, meaning ultrasound-guided procedures, including peripheral access, need the name of an attending who is supervising the procedure. This can either be the attending who is directly supervising the procedure or the attending who is indirectly supervising the procedure, meaning supervising the care of that patient. However, an attending must be listed. Diagnostic Studies should list the attending who is supervising the study. If there was no attending supervising, you would select the attending ID of 01, none, none. What we have done with customization to the system, if no attending is barcode scanned onto the ultrasound machine, it will automatically list the attending field as none. If you have multiple operators, meaning several residents who are working on a scan together, if you have several operators, meaning multiple residents working on a scan together, you can enter their ID numbers on the ultrasound machine separated by a comma, and they will all be ported over to QPath. However, if you are manually assigning people, when you hover over the operator field after a user has been assigned, you will see the ellipse. When you click on that ellipse, you'll get a different drop-down menu. The drop-down menu now has checkboxes to the name rather than just the name listed. As you check names, you will see additional users added. When that happens, you'll see that the operator name is now in bold, meaning more than one operator has been assigned. Remember, the exam type will drive what worksheet is available for you to document. On the Zoneri system, if you select the correct preset, it will populate the correct exam type for that preset. And the presets have been named on the ED systems based on the type of study being performed. If you're using a Sonosite system or do not select the right preset, you may have to change what exam type is listed for the study you did. So look at the exam type, and what will happen is if you need to change that, you click on the exam type and you'll get a drop-down menu of the different exam types that are available. You want to select the appropriate exam type for the study you did in order to have the correct worksheet available. Once you have an exam type selected, in this case transthoracic cardiac, you will get the transthoracic cardiac worksheet. And you can see the worksheet here for you to fill out the indications, findings, and diagnoses and other information along with signing the worksheet. This is what the worksheet looks like. There are several portions to it. There are the indications and the findings. There are the diagnoses with common ones as a checkbox and a text field for any additional information. There is also the disposition, comments, and a signature field. The signature field, if you are a resident or PA, click on the sign button and it will populate with your name and the date and time you sign. For attending documentation and signature, you have to complete a supervisory statement that attests whether you were present for key portions, the entire procedure, meaning the ultrasound, or you performed it without a resident, and whether this was a teaching or credentialed study. Then you will press the sign button and it will time and date stamp it with your name and electronic signature. Only the person who is logged into QPath can sign. Meaning if you have signed into QPath, you can sign worksheets. If someone else wants to sign that worksheet, they have to log in. A credentialed study will be sent to the PACS system, and the information from the worksheet will be sent to the medical record. Now, additional information is available as to algorithm and decision making for what constitutes a teaching versus a credentialed study, and that is available from the core ultrasound faculty. There is also a quality assurance feedback process for your ultrasound scans that are submitted for review. Once you have completed your worksheet, you want to click the Submit for QA button at the top. And what will happen is when you click on that button, that scan will now be submitted for QA and be in our pending file for us to be able to review it and give you feedback. Worksheets can be edited after the Submit for QA button has been clicked. Attendees can also sign it after it has been submitted for QA. Once a resident submits a study for QA, an automatic email will be generated to the attending who is tagged to the study, letting them know a study was done and submitted for review and give them an opportunity to sign it. There is a time limit to sign the study. If the study is older than that time window, it will be closed automatically by the system if it has not been submitted for QA. If it has been submitted for QA, it will be reviewed and closed by the core ultrasound faculty. When you click on the Submit for QA button, a notification pops up to ask if you really want to submit it. You can click OK. You do not have to check email notifications unless there's a specific core faculty member you want to notify that there's a study for them to review in a quicker fashion. This is the email that you will receive as attending if a study is submitted with your name listed as the attending. This is automatically generated email, so if you submit a study for QA that you performed alone, the system will still generate the email. The link at the bottom to open the study will only work if you're in the hospital and logged into a computer. It will not work with remote access. After a study has been submitted for QA, we'll complete the QA worksheet from the ultrasound faculty and give you feedback as to whether you documented appropriately and the quality of the study and the accuracy of the study. We'll also provide some feedback about the scan and the performance of the study. There will also be a notation of who reviewed the study for you. And then we will assign credit or no credit based on performance. After QA is completed, you'll receive an email that the study QA review has been completed. You can use the link, once again, only from in the hospital to open the exam itself, or you can review the PDF document that has the QA sheet and the interpretation sheet with it. If you receive feedback about specific images or video clips to be reviewed, you'll have to open the study as video clips cannot be added to the PDF report format. Annotations can be performed on the ultrasound images. To do that, you'll have to click on the annotation button, and you can add arrows, you can add text, and you can change the brightness and contrast of the image temporarily. All of the annotations are only visible in QPath and are not permanent additions to the image or permanent changes such as brightness or contrast. If you have annotations on the image and you need to hide them, you can click on the red X that will hide the annotations. You can click it again to make them reappear in case there are text or arrows covering part of the image and you want to see what's behind them. We may use the annotations to point out specific findings as part of your QA review, and it will be noted in the feedback document to refer to annotated images. If you have done multiple studies on the same patient, you can merge the studies in QPath. So if you have multiple studies on the same patient in QPath, you can merge them by clicking on the merge button after highlighting one of the multiple studies. It should be noted that you can only merge studies on the same patient with the same ID that are in consecutive order. So if you have performed multiple studies on a patient separated by time with other studies between them, you may not be able to merge them, as the system will assume that they are separate and counted. If you have performed multiple studies on the same preset, you may want to split them into different exam types so you can assign different worksheets to document your findings. For example, you remained on the same preset and you did a FAST and an abdominal aorta eval. You will want to split it into a FAST and an abdominal aorta evaluation in order to assign the appropriate worksheets to document what you did. In either the image worksheet or images tab, you're going to find thumbnails. On the thumbnails in the image view, you're going to check the boxes of the images you want to pull out and split into a separate study. You are then going to click on the split button. The dialog box pops up with the images you selected, and you can then split. The drop-down menu to select the exam type will allow you to choose the exam type that these studies will be split into. If you check the images in the pop-up box again, it will copy those images rather than just removing them from the original study. And then click OK, and your study will be split into two different studies. If you have a complex series of studies done on the same patient, you may need to do a combination of merge and split, especially if you're using the Sonosite systems that are not tagged with specific worksheets per preset. In that case, you want to merge and then split. If you click on the statistics tab, you can see a report based on ultrasound volume, performance, and credit. You can only see the statistics for yourself. Additional statistics for the group can be run by the core faculty, but in your case, you can only see your own QA sheets and your own statistics to provide privacy. In order to take this data and run a meaningful report, there's an additional video talking about how to take this data and create a report that is more interpretable rather than the baseline display here.